heard from them?
I have not quite yet heard from them. I received actually just before coming on here an email from the athletic department. It seemed to be a generic email to all student athletes, just addressing the situation and describing the fact that they weren't in the wrong back then, but they understand that they are now. That is no form of apology to me whatsoever. I think another.
They weren't in the wrong back then, but they are in the wrong now.
Oh my God.
I don't know if it's not working. We're going to move on to the next one. Hopefully you guys can hear me. It shows that it's connected on my end.
The University of Pennsylvania doing the walk of shame, crawling out of the woodwork to admit that it was wrong in the way it handled female sports 3 years ago with transgender swimmer Lia Thomas.
The Department of Education announcing that University of Pennsylvania has agreed to resolve Title IX violations. That deal includes defining male and female by biological sex, reinstating strip titles and records to female athletes, and get this, issue personal apologies to every impacted swimmer,
including former University of Pennsylvania swimmer Paula Scanlon. She joins us now. Paula, great to see you. Your reaction to this from the University of Pennsylvania, have you heard from them?
I have not quite yet heard from them. I received actually just before coming on here an email from the athletic department. It seemed to be a generic email to all student athletes, just addressing the situation and describing the fact that they weren't in the wrong back then, but they understand that they are now. That is no form of apology to me whatsoever. I think another.
They weren't in the wrong back then, but they are in the wrong now.
First and foremost, want to give a huge shout out to everybody that continues to tap in with us, like and subscribe and join our community. If you haven't already, please make sure that you do. We look forward to engaging in some dope combo with you that can help us all elevate. So like, subscribe, and maybe even share the video if you're feeling real generous. On that note, we'll let you get back to the video. See you soon. Ew.
University of Penn, one of the most prestigious schools in the country, perhaps the world. This is this is that whole conversation about, is wrong or right determined by rules, or is it determined by morals, principles, and values? Is it wrong or right to go to war and kill a bunch of people because our country's behind it, our government's behind it? Or should we rely on our morals, values, and principles? University of Penn needed Donald Trump to put pressure on them and to threaten taking away their federal funding, and for him to change the law or change the rules with men not being allowed to participate in women's sports, biologically born men not being allowed to participate in women's sports, for them to see this as a problem. How are some of the most intelligent and brilliant, and I should put air quotes around intelligent and brilliant, minds in the world that we are giving the responsibility to teach our next generation of leaders, perhaps, right? I mean, when you look at Wharton, the business school in University of Penn, it's one of the most talked about prestigious schools in the world. And that school, you're telling me that they don't understand that a biologically born boy has certain advantages over a biologically born woman? They thought it was okay to have Lia Thomas in the locker room with her penis out in front of other young women. They thought it was okay to have Lia Thomas competing against women's sports and taking away opportunities from other young girls. This is, I don't know if, this is one of those situations where I think about, and I'm like, is there really somebody just like pulling the strings to all this, like above the president, above everything else, somebody that just pulls the strings and say, hey, let's have them just argue over this dumb thing for the longest. That way we can distract them from what's really going on. It really just makes me think that. And to the point where you'll have so many Americans agreeing on something, so many Americans pushing for something and saying like, hey, boys shouldn't be playing sports against girls, but they still continue to stand on it 10 toes down, it just makes you wonder. And then for them to come out and now want to issue an apology, it just seems like some type of deal was done. It just seems like some deal was done. And like Queez always says, follow the money. And that seems to be the underlying motivation in this situation and a lot of other situations that we see. So you guys let me know what your thoughts are.
Other ones should be still coming, but really, I mean, what I've seen from this is they're trying to just say, well, we were following the rules then and we're trying to follow the rules now. Don't be mad at us.
So the sincerity is lacking here. I mean, they're being forced to.
And slow burn, very quickly. We have a Supreme Court justice that couldn't define a woman. That is a fact. When you have people that won't do that, what they're saying is that they are completely compromised. They are completely compromised. Supreme Court justice. Wasn't Neil deGrasse Tyson, who's considered as one of our leading scientists, he couldn't define a woman, or there was something that, and maybe that wasn't the exact case, but I wish I would have thought about this when I was going over this video, is that Neil, we had our scientists behind this. This is the insanity that can be pushed one way or another. So you would think as we advance in technology, as we advance in science, as we advance in all these other areas, that this would be something that's just a little bit of a no-brainer. Like, hey, we don't have to waste our time trying to convince people that men have biological advantages when it comes to sports over women. It was Neil deGrasse Tyson. Matter of fact, I don't have to say I think. I remember the video of Neil deGrasse Tyson pretty much saying, well, actually, you know, it's not that it's never been proven that a man has a biological advantage. You want to know why it's probably never been proven? And it actually has been proven, but they probably never done a scientific study. I guess that's what he's saying, is because it would be like, do you need to do a scientific study to prove that water is wet? Like, you don't need to do a scientific study to show that fire is hot, right? Like, you don't need to do a scientific study for certain things. And this is just another one of those things. It's insane. It is insane. Don't say, see, this is what's wrong with the generation of today. Somewhere along the line, they thought it was okay to let a little boy pretend that he was a little girl, and that's not okay. I'm 100% with you. And let me be very clear. I think that it's disgusting what we're doing and what we're promoting and condoning to a lot of our children, because to me, it's feeding into a mental health disorder. Now, even if you don't think that somebody has a mental health disorder because they're a little boy and they want to be a little girl, let's say that you don't think that it's a mental health disorder. To me, you have to have some type of mental health disorder to think that you should be competing against women. Like, Bruce Jenner thinks he's a woman. Cool. But he's not deranged to think that men don't have a biological huge advantage competing with women. That's why Bruce Jenner has taken a lot of slack from coming out and speaking on these things and saying, like, yo, this should not be happening. It's dangerous to our young girls. It's not right. So even if you do not think that it's a mental disorder and that this is a mental health issue with kids trying to act as if or believing that they're another sex or another gender, or whatever they're throwing around these days, to me, for a boy to compete against a girl, for a young man, and this is a college kid, to think that it's okay to compete against women and to be in a locker room like that, like that's a mental health disorder, in my opinion. I'm not a doctor, but I'm diagnosing it. It's a mental health disorder.
Do this, but you're right. A sincere apology comes from the heart that they learned. And do you get the medals and things that you won, the trophies? Are those going to be stripped away? And do you get what you actually earned, despite there being a male with junk jumping in the pool with y'all?
Excellent point. Think about all the opportunities that he took away from certain people. I think him and Riley Gaines, they tied one time, and they decided to give him the trophy or whatever it was, the medal. I think it was something. I think they tied. But think about all the young women that have tried their hardest, that have busted They're behind practicing, training, all these different things. All to lose in a 100% unfair situation. A total unfair situation. Everybody knows that this is unfair. And this is why you call BS on all this stuff. And this is just one of those issues that just makes you look at certain people on certain sides. And it's like, yo, this is ridiculous. Whether it's Gavin Newsom, whether it's anybody else, whether it's the Supreme Court justice, these people are insane.
You know, it's very hard to rectify these things. And again, how do you walk back? Okay, well, maybe if he didn't compete, someone else would have been able to attend this championship. I mean, there's so many things that are not covered from simply an apology and fixing the record boards. But the one thing I will say is I am grateful to the Trump administration for standing so strong on this. And it shows how strong they are in their leadership that this issue has been able to come the way it has. I mean, we've seen a major university bend the knee here. This is historic. This is something we've never seen before. And I really hope this is just the start and we see more coming. I mean, I would love to see Harvard crawl back and apologize for some of the things they've done wrong too.
You know what I would love to see? I would love to see what Simone Biles now says about this, since she just got in her spat with Riley Gaines over this exact issue. I would love to hear some of these other women athletes, what they think. Maybe like a Dawn Staley. Remember when Dawn Staley was asked how she felt about it? And she said, yeah, the biologically born boys should be allowed to compete in women's sports. I would love to hear some of the other athletes stand up and talk about this stuff. The Serena Williams, you know, the other popular women athletes, and how powerful it would be to hear their voice in certain situations. But it seems like a lot of them have either chosen to say something that they know is complete BS, or they take the DJ Khaled approach and just don't say anything. And the reason why I'm saying the DJ Khaled approach, for those that aren't familiar, DJ Khaled is a Palestinian, and I don't think he said anything on what's been going on in Palestine, anything. So I guess people pick and choose their battles. So let's move on. I think we got enough of that one. Let's see. I want to make sure I'm keeping up with some of the chats. All right, let me move on. Let's what are we going to go to? Let's go to the rabbi video. It's Dak. Just want to thank you for checking out our video and visiting the OG Network. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure that you give us a like. And if you're looking to join a community of inspired individuals striving for purposeful abundance, subscribe. And if you're feeling real generous, share the video with some friends and family. All right, I'll see y'all soon. Ew.